Hi everyone, welcome to another Cabinet Vision Guide tech tip. In this episode we're going to be creating a tall appliance housing from a standard tall assembly. So the goal here is to have a section in the centre that doesn't have a back to it. So we have a section up at the top that might have a door on it that has a back. What we want to do is split that back so we've got an open aperture in the middle and then a section in the bottom as well for either a door or a set of drawers. There's lots of different ways of creating this assembly inside Cabinet Vision. I'm just going to show you my sort of favourite method, just to show you the power of the assembly wizard when used with some conditions. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start off just by returning to room level for a second. And I want to create myself an on-off switch on this one assembly that's going to allow me to essentially just split the backs. So what I want to do is I want to right click and I want to go to properties. Now you might want to put this on every tall assembly. I'm just going to apply it to this one, but we can also set this up as a parameter from the welcome screen as well to apply to all tall assemblies, and I'll just flick to that to show you in a second. So back on our assembly, what we've got is I'm going to go to parameters, I'm going to click add, and then up at the top here, I'm going to choose an integer. I'm going to set the style to be attribute, and I'm going to give it a parameter name. Now it doesn't matter really what we use here, but we just need to be able to remember it and copy it to the clipboard. I'm going to call this, or an abbreviated version of appliance housing, but we might actually want to make this something more generic. We're using this method obviously for an appliance housing, but if you make things like commercial furniture, this is also really useful as well. So the name that I'm going to use is just an abbreviated appliance housing. And the description, I'm just going to give appliance housing. And for the value, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to choices and I'm going to choose to add. And I'm just going to put on and off. Obviously for the on, I'm going to give that a value of 1. And for off, that's going to have a value of 0. And what that's going to do is if I hit OK and OK again, on my left hand side now, I've now got the toggle option, a choice list of selecting on or off for our appliance housing. So the next thing I need to do is I need to modify my construction method to make a change when I toggle this. So I'm going to head into job properties. And again, you might want to do this from the welcome screen and modify a couple of different construction methods for this at the same time. For mine, I'm just going to modify it for this job. So I've got my kitchen construction method. So I'm going to hit modify for this job. And what I want to do is I want to come down to connections and I'm going to be modifying the fixed shelf. But before I do that, what I want to do is I want to come up to conditions and I want to add myself a new condition here. So what I'm going to do is just add a name. And again, I'm going to call this appliance housing, but you might want to make it less specific to just this one style of assembly. And for the condition, this is where I need to remember my parameter name. And I'm going to set this to just equals 1. And then from there I can hit OK. And now what I need to do is double click on my fixed shelf. And the standard that I'm looking for is where my fixed shelf meets my unfinished back. So I'm just going to hit next until I find that one. So how does your fixed shelf and unfinished back connect? And what I want to do here is I want to select that my fixed shelf extends to the back of my back, essentially splitting it in two. But I don't want to enable that for every fixed shelf within the job. So what I'm going to do is just set that back to button into the unfinished back. And up at the top here, I'm going to click add and I'm going to go to conditions and choose my appliance housing. Now with the appliance housing, what I can do is I can select that this extends the fixed shelf to the back of the unfinished back, and I can also select a connector. I'm just going to select none for this for now. But from here I can hit OK, and if I want to I can save this back to my sort of main construction methods on system level by hitting save as system. But for now I'm going to hit OK and OK here. So with this now, what I need to do is click on my assembly and we can see appliance housing is set to off. I'm going to head down to assembly level and I'm going to go to section view and I'm going to just divide up my face and interior of my assembly. So I'm going to go with a multi-split for the face and I'm just going to select opens. And then I'm going to go to section interior and I'm going to zoom in and we can see the two divides. I'm going to select a horizontal split and I'm going to click on the line that represents the split on the face. And when I do that, it creates a relationship between the fixed shelf and the divide. So if I start to move this now through section face, we'll see if I select this 27 and this starts to move up and down. So if I go back to section interior, what I need to do on this is just click on it and select the relative position. So at the moment, the divide on the face is the center of the shelf. So I need to make sure that one's the bottom. And then when I repeat that process, do a horizontal split, click on my line, select my shelf again, and select relative top. Now, if I go into 3D, what we should see is this should still look like a completely standard tall assembly. Now, when I click the appliance housing to on, we should see that instantly what happens is our fixed shelf now splits our back into 3 pieces for us. If I want to put a standard shelf in, I can go back to section view and go to section interior and just drop in, say, an adjustable shelf, which will obviously just work the same as it did before. But what I can do now is just get rid of this shelf. I can go to face view. I can click on the back that's in the center. And what I need to do with that one is I need to right click and go to properties, head into parameters, and I'm going to add a new one. And I'm going to set QTY, which is quantity, and I'm going to select 0 for this and hit OK. And if I go to 3D view, you'll now see that we've got a section up at the top, a section down at the bottom, and then an empty void in the center. And what I can do is I can head back to section view, I can go to section face, and again, I can adjust these sizes if I want to. So if I make this smaller and head back into 3D, everything remains parametric because obviously we're making the change working with the system with a assembly condition. So from here, what we can do is head back to section view, click in the different spaces that are available, and then decide what we want as far as doors and drawers go. So I'm going to add a door in up at the top, and I'm going to make it about 28. Obviously, you can set your set sizes if you've got a specific appliance size that you want to work with. You can set how you want to lock, obviously, the sections as well. So for example, what you might want to do is set this specific size to fit around a certain appliance and then choose to lock the height here. So if I set this around 24 inches and set to lock the height here, what I can then do is have either a locked top as well or a locked bottom, and then either one that's obviously not locked is going to extend as we start to stretch the unit up and down. What I'm going to do for my bottom section here is just do a horizontal split and add 4 drawers in there for me. And now if I go back to 3D view, you'll see that we've got our assembly with our section faces and our nice void in the middle to take an appliance. So the last thing that we need to do is just get this saved away. So I'm going to go back to section view, right click and choose to save. And I've got 2 options here. If I've already named the assembly, what I can do is just save and then save it back and override the original. Or what I might need to do is hit save as, and then choose to give myself a new name for this particular appliance housing, and then click OK. Hopefully you found this video useful. Feel free to give us a like, share and subscribe. We're also on Facebook, that's facebook.com/thecabinetvisionguy, and Instagram as well, that's instagram.com/thecabinetvisionguy. Cheers!